Building a great company is a marathon, not a sprint. Each week, Krista Inkeman and the team at Tank New Media take on growth challenges, explore technology, and interview business leaders that are always upping their game. If you're ready to build scalable systems to drive your business forward, this podcast is for you.
Hi, everyone. Today we are with Taylor Kack. She's part of the design department at Tank New Media. She's worked with sales teams to create documents to assist in everything from prospecting to closing deals. And today we're going to be talking about how to accelerate sales with integrated electronic documents. Welcome, Taylor.
Hi.
So where are you seeing some challenges in completing sales?
Yeah, so I think this is a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think there's one singular answer, but we often see these bottlenecks throughout this whole entire sales process where it kind of operates like this hurry up and wait kind of game. You know, you may finally get that thumbs up or go ahead to
Get the verbal.
Yeah, kind of move through. And
I use that one a lot.
that you can kind of create these documents and the sales team, kind of takes a chunk of time to do that or get the approval or sign off internally to be able to send that out. And I was reading an article the other day that said the average inbound lead kind of looks at 3 to 5 organizations when they're ready to buy a service, and 50% of those companies buy from the person that reaches out to them first, which is incredible. You know, it really shows that if you can get your foot in the door first or contact them early on, you really have a great opportunity to, close that sale. So I don't want to just pick on the sales teams. I know that, we often get busy and we often see bottlenecks in the customer handoff portion. You finally get all the hard work done and out the door and you're feeling really great. And then, you often sit and wait, and it can be, we've seen months before, you're like,
yes,
these people should be excited and getting it back to us and what's going on, and everyone's busy. So it just, kind of gets lost to the bottom of the inbox. That happens to me constantly. I'm still a strong advocate for the mark texts as unread.
Oh my gosh, I do that all the time.
I read them all the time, and then my sister will text me back and like, are you alive? Like, I texted you 2 months ago or something, So I think we've all been there, and it's not any one person's fault. I think it's just a symptom of the proposal and document creation system kind of being a little clunky and outdated still. So
you said it's kind of clunky and outdated. What does that mean? What were some of those ways of getting signatures?
I'm sure you see this all the time,
Yes.
Krista. So, you can kind of maybe back me up on it, but you often get these documents and you have to print them out, review it, make sure everything looks okay, track down everybody who's involved and who needs to read it and, sign it and get it scanned back in and then emailed and sent off. And, that's really in this ideal world where nothing goes wrong.
And everybody's in the office. And
your printer's working. It's not out of ink.
Our scanner's been broken for months.
Yeah. You have to kind of factor all these things in that really go into each document system or process, I guess, and, kind of look at how cumbersome that must be for people.
Yeah, definitely. We just did another podcast that was about friction, and this definitely seems like a friction point, something that really kind of slows down the process. But it sounds like potentially an electronic signature might be a good way to kind of speed that up. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so I probably won't put this as eloquently as the dictionary would, but electronic signatures are data in electronic form. And I think most simply it's data in electronic form that's logically related to other data in electronic form that signatories can sign. So I'm going to throw in a little asterisk footnote here. I'm not a lawyer, and as long as nothing's changed over the past couple of weeks, I don't think you're a lawyer yet, Krista. So we don't necessarily know all the legality and nitty gritty of that. So getting a second opinion on your legal standing on some of this is always a good idea, but often this type of signature is kind of in that same legal standing as a handwritten signature, as long as you're kind of following the regulations it was created under. So
Yeah, definitely. And most of the companies that we work with are able to accept electronic signatures. On occasion, we'll have somebody that needs a wet signature,
Mhm.
so to speak, on a few things, but no, they do seem to, really kind of help the process. So tell me a little bit, what are some of the main benefits of using electronic signature systems or proposal software?
Yeah, so this is kind of where I get excited. You'll have to, maybe tame me back a little bit if I
I'll
go off.
slow you down here.
But I think really one of the biggest benefits is it's simple and easy to use. People are more intuitive with electronic systems anymore, and people are on their phones all the time, and it really does make it super easy and efficient for people to use. And a lot of them, there's a lot of variety of systems you can use, and they all kind of operate under the same premise. You upload or create a document, you designate signers and recipients and send it off, and they sign. And I mean, it sounds like that's too simple, but I mean, it really is. There's some work up front to get to that
Sure.
point, but it really is. It's almost as easy as, opening up a link and hitting a button. So, I mean, I think that is really appealing to people who, one, have to send these out all the time, and two,
Yes.
that are constantly looking at information like this.
Definitely, with all the proposals and estimates and quotes and everything that people make, it makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
To
If
get
you
them
can
out
do it on
quickly.
your phone, or, when you're not necessarily next to your computer or whatever.
Definitely, definitely. So tell me a little bit about the security.
Again, I'll start off with that little footnote. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a ton of legal background, but getting that second opinion can kind of always help with that regard. But
Definitely.
believe it or not, most of these electronic signatures can be safer than the traditional handwritten ones. Those can be forged, or
Sure.
the document duplicated or altered in some kind of way, even destroyed. I think, you can reference the banking industry. They run into this constantly, with checks
Yeah.
being forged and altered, or, a little zero added to the end,
Mhm.
So I think you can kind of make that reference on how the old paper-based transactions can kind of, have some risks in them. And the electronic softwares kind of allow you to contain more traceable information
Sure.
inside the document, not only who signed it, but where, when, maybe, and those kinds of data insights are a little bit more enforceable
Sure.
than a traditional paper-based transaction.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of will make a little caveat here. A lot of people feel like these handwritten signatures are more tangible, but that doesn't necessarily make them more secure. You're often
Sure.
still sending them via email. So,
That is so true.
yeah, you're
Oh
making
my
this like
gosh.
makeshift, less sophisticated proposal software system on your own when you're kind of maybe trying to advocate for, well, no, it needs to be printed, when you're
Right.
kind of still using these electronic methods to send them out. So,
Absolutely. And I mean, I think that plays a little bit into like the convenience factor because people are dispersed.
yeah, I mean, everybody is all over the place anymore. I think even small businesses today are, if you're not, geographically located all over the world, you're probably working with a vendor or a supplier or a partner that maybe is in a different location. So
Sure.
it really is a solution that kind of gives you the opportunity to be able to provide them with a convenient option instead of, mailing or courier sending
Oh my
something
gosh.
through the mail.
Yeah, Pony Express. I hear you. So this has to be faster for people. This has to give faster turnarounds, does it?
Yes, and I think that this should be what appeals to most people. The convenience, again, is super easy for people to turn these around a lot quicker. Instead of sending the document to one party and printing it out and finding the next person to review and sign it,
Mhm.
and find the next person, and so on and so forth, and then scan it back in and send it off. Finally, you really have an option that can almost be turned around in seconds,
Yeah.
if in
If
an
they're
ideal
ready.
world. Yeah. But you don't have to really wait for people to, hunt down everyone. You can kind of send the link to everybody involved. They can review it at their own time and sign and send it back off. And, a really convenient feature with a lot of these is you can set up little nudges or notification reminders that, hey, you've been sitting on this contract for a couple days. I know that I do this all the time with my shopping cart where I'm like, oh, I just need to look one more place to see if it's cheaper. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I put that t-shirt in my cart 4 days ago. So the same kind of idea can be set up with the proposal softwares, just a little reminder that you haven't signed this yet. Do you have questions? Are you getting stuck on a certain point? And, in that article I was reading, it said that these little notifications can increase your chance of sale up to 30%. So, PandaDoc has done the research on this and provided information that shows these opportunities can really improve your sales close rate. So
they're effective. And that, as a salesperson, I don't have to remember, that I need to remind somebody to fill that out. I need to check, constantly, because that can be something, when you have a lot of them out, it can be hard to remember all of that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, to that extent, I sent that document 2 days ago and it was like 2 weeks ago. I'm falling into that trap all the time anymore.
All the time. Yes. And by having them in a digital system, you can also make sure that you send it out without having to search through your email to see where it is. That's definitely, for me, I know that's been a really big benefit, just tracking my activity.
Yeah, knowing where it all is.
Definitely. So I'm sure people out there are thinking, yeah, this is great, but I'm sure it's going to cost a lot. How is this going to affect my business? Can you talk just briefly about kind of cost implications here?
Yeah, so there is usually a cost up front for the software, but it really is a cost-effective alternative to their traditional pen and paper. You're not spending as much on ink and paper, but as well as postage or mailing or back to the time thing. It saves you time, which ultimately really does save you money, and every little bit adds up over time. So you will see maybe some upfront cost or some software cost at least, but it really does have an impact on the bottom line.
So we've talked quite a bit about some of those benefits. Now, I am curious, when you get into some of these digital signing platforms, are all of your contracts going to look the same? Can you customize them? How much flexibility do you have?
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite part. So I'm going to kind of geek out here. You can usually customize them almost exclusively to how you want them to look. There's some functionality that has to operate the way it needs to, but you can create these template galleries that are branded underneath your company's brand or your sales brand or whatever that looks like for you.
Sure.
And with that, you can create, these documents to be set up the way you intend them to be time and time again. I think a lot of sales teams run into this problem where somebody accidentally deletes a box, or you think you're typing on page 4, but you're on page 2 still somehow.
Or you opened up an old document to start from, you didn't resave it. I've never done that before.
I'm literally the worst at that. So, it helps keep those portions that you need to be locked down that are maybe a little bit more legal, or they don't need to be changed. They're consistent across every contract or template. So, it gives you this opportunity to create these contracts or proposals or documents that are going out accurately time and time again. So, yeah, that's one portion of it. I think, you can create these pricing catalogs or little libraries almost that have your product or service in them. And again, that goes back to making sure your information's accurate. The price is consistently going to stay the same. The information on the product doesn't really need to change. So that's all logged in there, and it auto calculates discounts and taxes, and
that sounds like it is great.
Yeah, because
for somebody like me.
We work with a manufacturing company who they sell these machines, and it can have component A and component B and upgrade C and X, Y, and Z. And for them to compose these contracts, it's really laborsome. And if you can provide all of that in a pricing catalog for them to be able to just pull, like, this is what this person wants and they want this upgrade, and it auto calculates all of that for you. I mean,
that's way better.
Yeah,
definitely. So the technology sounds pretty good, but does it integrate into other systems?
Yeah, and I think I would ultimately recommend that you should integrate it, especially into your CRMs. One of these features that you can customize is the tokens and fields. So not only is it automatically pulling data into your CRM is also implementing data into the contractor document. So for example, we often work with the PandaDoc and HubSpot integration. And not one benefit for that is you don't even have to go to the PandaDoc software to create the document. You create it when you're in the contact record. You pick the template you need. You can set up those tokens so it automatically fills information based on that contact's record. So name, email,
Sure.
things that one, aren't usually changing, and two, a typo can be kind of catastrophic to that. So, you're kind of ensuring that this information gets implemented accurately, and then it's super easy for a salesperson to just kind of hit create and edit what they need to. So
Go from there. Yeah. And that just kind of leads into my next question. So we've talked a little bit about overall, it's improving overall efficiencies. Can you just dive a little bit deeper into that and just talk a little bit more about how this really improves internal efficiency?
So there's a stat out there from the Electronic Signature and Records Association that businesses experience an 83% performance improvement in getting approvals, along with an 86% savings in document costs.
That's insane.
Yeah, it almost seems unbelievable, but
Yeah.
it really does save the sales team time having to track down these documents that they make, if not daily, I mean, it's got to be weekly. So
Sure.
you don't have to track which version, which product, you don't have to track down the person to approve it every time. If you can get these templates made and get their, sign off, you're kind of cutting down on the amount, at least, that they have to approve. If they can approve
Just
1 to
the part
2
that changed.
sections. Yeah, it's way easier than the whole document every time. So I think it just creates this consistent experience for the sales team to be able to feel confident in creating these documents, and kind of gives your business peace of mind knowing it's going out accurately, consistently, and knowing if you do need to make a change, you're kind of going to catch them all in one fell swoop. You know where everything's living. If you make a contract update here, you know that it's going to continue to go out now when you're ready accurately. And then logs, a history of every document you sent, the status, can send those automatic reminders. So it just creates this almost personal assistant to your sales team to be able to start, maintaining and kind of watching these contracts that are going out.
So what does this do from a customer standpoint?
Yeah, so that's a big one. I think it really is a solution that's tailored to them. It's providing a very positive user experience, and anymore, it's reporting that 74% of Americans are prioritizing experience over products.
Oh, wow.
So, that kind of goes to your whole, marketing,
Everything
sales,
better be good.
service. Yeah. You really need to be prioritizing this user experience. And, you would hate for them to have this great experience coming through, the buyer's journey or your marketing process, and then get, to the end and kind of dread the point of sale or that contract. So this really provides them with a less frustrating way to kind of get these documents or proposals. They're not experiencing these big long time gaps or these kind of like lags in information from the sales team. And ultimately it allows them to feel like they're your number one priority, right? They're top of mind for you. You're turning this stuff around for them so much. You must be sitting at your desk thinking about them all day long, right? That's the only way they can get this document turned around so quick. So I think it really is, a solution that is tailored to them and their experience.
So we've talked quite a bit about sales. Where do you see, digital signatures being used?
Yeah, so, the contract or sale process is obviously a big portion of that, but I think there's a variety of, kind of innovative solutions that you can look at implementing these in. One that comes to mind is kind of these prototype or production milestones. Maybe you need a design approval or a prototype sign off, or one of our clients kind of needs these sign offs that they're going to send the appropriate information for them to set up the equipment properly. So those types of things where you need somebody to read what you're sending them and then agree to or sign off on, you can kind of use those in those types of situations. Or, maybe you have safety or, plant tours or something to that effect where, you often go. I'm sure everyone's been at least on a tour where they kind of have to sign your life away or, something like that.
Not responsible.
Yeah. I'm not going to fall in this big boiling pot of water or something. I don't know. Maybe you're at a big noodle company or something. I don't know. But So things like that, where you're getting people to kind of, sign some type of liability, or I've read this, or I acknowledge that I've read that kind of thing. And then, HR onboarding, offboarding processes can also kind of utilize these things.
So, have you really seen the impact of this firsthand?
I think the best way for me to kind of maybe answer that one is to talk a little bit about a client we've worked with. Pack Leader USA is a manufacturing client we've worked with, and they were really having troubles in the sales process because, I kind of talked about it before. They were having to compile these contracts with a ton of information about the product. They needed to assemble the equipment and the add-ons and the upgrades, and you can sign off not doing this portion of it, or sign to have this training, and so there was a lot of pieces involved, and they were kind of all over the place, and each sales guy was kind of doing their own thing. So
I've heard that before.
yeah, and it's kind of hard to keep track of all that.
Yeah.
And as they were, selling more, they kind of needed a system that would help maintain all of that and make sure that their contracts were coming back on time. So we ended up implementing PandaDocs for their sales team and integrated it with their HubSpot CRM. And, I think it's great. When they kind of talk about it, they say, it used to take days for contracts to come back, which I'm going to admit, I'm like, wow, days, that's still kind of good. You're not waiting weeks or months. But so they went from days of these contracts being out to hours.
Wow.
Some people will turn them back around in hours. So they were able to close 75% more leads over a year. So I think it has, a tremendous impact on
definitely
the sales
performance
process.
improvement, getting more out there and being able to do more with the same team. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the key to it. They have the same number of people kind of operating under the system, and, just improving efficiency can really make an impact.
And if somebody's interested in kind of reading the full story there on what was done with Pack Leader USA and getting a little bit more detail about that particular example, we'll have a link in the show notes for that as well. So how do you identify places in your process where you can really utilize these systems? What steps can you take?
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a loaded question. I think every process could look a little bit different. I think there's some big key ideas or sections you could look at. I'd start by asking yourself or your sales team, where do we see bottlenecks in our process? And I guess, let me take that one step back. I think it doesn't have to be your sales team, right?
Sure.
If you're looking at implementing this in an HR system or onboarding or safety, really start asking your teams where they're seeing a bottleneck in their process, and can a solution like this, where they're needing sign off and approval on something, really help streamline that. And to that effect, even if you don't maybe need the handwritten signature, but you kind of need somebody to look at it, you may look at, hey, can you initial this that you've seen it and moved on, so that you're not waiting for somebody to look at something. If you can if it works for your process to send off and have them look at it, on their phone or on their own time, when they get an email or have a chance to look at it, you can kind of help.
And I think that would help, make sure people look at it too, because people tend to take a little bit more attention if they have to initial it or sign it versus just sending a PDF via email.
Yeah. No, I totally looked at that. And then a month later,
I'm not guilty of that
I
at all.
never have seen this. I've never even looked at this. So, just little things like that. You don't maybe need the official signature on it, but it could
you want to make
help.
sure they saw it. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
So then, looking at other tools that, existing systems or software that you have, can it integrate with those? And once you kind of see those friction points or, kind of these red flags where maybe the process is kind of stalling, I think you can then look at the tools that are available to you. So I think one thing that's great is if you can look at templates or examples that already exist to kind of get you the ball rolling and starting to implement these a little quicker. That's a great, kind of quick win. Maybe you don't have to have, the full best solution that you want right out the gate. If you can kind of use an example that exists, that will kind of get you out the door. And, to kind of go along with that, I think it's really important that you kind of take an internal look at yourself and see, can we implement this? It kind of can end up being a little bit of a process. There's a lot of data to go through. What can't be customized? What tokens do we need? Or if you are integrating with your CRM, what do new fields need made? Do new tokens need to be created? Sure. Is that data even in your database? So really taking a step back and saying, okay, can we get this implemented successfully internally? Or do we need to partner with somebody who can kind of help us along in understanding the kind of pieces that go along with those processes is important. So I think, that kind of gets you into this tools and software, figuring out a little bit of a plan, how you're going to get it going. So I think then, next really comes like implementing the system. Let's get it going. Let's get it out there and start training your team. I will say we worked with, the manufacturing company that their sales team was not on board when they wanted to implement this. They didn't really see the benefit. They were a little bit, difficult to adopt it at first. And so I think it took some training and understanding to know and feel confident that they could, really use this. And, now it's like they come back constantly and they're like, can we automate this portion of it? Or I had to type this in on 2. Can we auto populate that? And, so I think it could take some time to adopt, but if you really train your team well and get them excited and see the benefits and opportunities to improve later on, I think those are kind of some key points to look for.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. I'm sure everybody really has enjoyed hearing about how to, really improve some of these processes internally. And we appreciate your time today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You got it. And don't forget to rate and review and subscribe, everyone. For tools and resources, visit manufacturinggrowth.com.